at this moment, we don't have any reason to believe dollar will be appreciated drastically this year because United States is doing a lot of easing. And also euro, there's still more pessimistic story than optimistic story at this moment. So we don't have any good reason that euro will be appreciated. Unfortunately, there's no good reason for Japan to be depreciated. So in spite of the fact Japanese economy is not very strong at this moment, the money is coming into Japan to have a very high value of yen. And China, of course, is always confronting the pressure from outside to the appreciation of the currency. But China is politically very strong. Some of my American friends said, when America put a very strong pressure to Japan, Japan will do something. But when the United States give a very strong pressure to China, China will do the opposite thing. So we can't expect the China, maybe some appreciation of the RMB, but it's very gradual. So the very big question is how we can just coordinate this kind of problem. But just don't think in one way. If there's any big change in macroeconomic behavior in the United States or in Europe, any optimistic picture, then the trend of exchange rate can change in the opposite direction. So anyway, it is very difficult to expect what is going to be the trend of exchange rate in the latter half of the year, but still, that is the most important issues. And the third thing, which is also very obvious, is opening the economy. We are much behind our colleague Korea for the implementation of FTA. But you remember, 10 years ago, it's the turn of the millennium. Do you know how many countries among the top 30 nations in the world were not in any FTA, free trade agreement? If you just list up the 30 countries or region in terms of the size of the country, there were only 4 countries or regions which were not in any FTA in 2000. One is Taiwan, one is Japan, one is China, and one is Korea. Okay? So remember, in 10 years, we are far behind the trend of the world. But you know what changed in the last 10 years. So we are not still late. We can always speed up the process of the issue. Now, there's some kind of very interesting controversy in Japan about the process of FTA. Japan was just pursuing so-called ASEAN plus 3 or ASEAN plus 6, which means just ASEAN and China, Korea, Japan, and some maybe Australia, New Zealand, India type of thing. And we are still following that process. But there's a very interesting change in the world politics. That is just the innovation of what is called the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. And one of the very important things about TPP is United States is there, Australia is there, and some of the Southeast Asian countries such as Singapore is there. So for the case of Japan, there's always kind of alternative, whether we are just following East Asian path or we are following the so-called Trans-Pacific path. And probably the realistic answer is not just follow one thing. Ms. Koike said, if we try to follow 2 rabbits, you can't get anything. But I say, if we have to just compare the 2 rabbits and possibly get both. Because the important thing is just the East Asian region is not just independent from the rest of the world. As you know, many of the very sophisticated devices from Taiwan, Korea, and Japan is exported to China and assembles, and many of the product is actually exported to Europe and United States. So it is very important to have a kind of a more multi-layer structures to pursue the FTA. So that is behind the politics in Japan now. Mr. Khan is very eager to just follow the process of the TPP on the one hand, but at the same time to speed up the process of the internationalization.